What's up, everybody? CHM Carnivorous here. I decided to move my collection of Sundews and Sarracenia outdoors. The plan is for 2025 is to create a bog garden in the back, and so I wanted to give the plants a chance to acclimate before going into that process. This is the first week that they've been outside, and so we're going to talk through what all that means and how these plants have handled that, and how they've done either well or not well. It's a beautiful morning here, so the sun is just now coming in, as you can see from the beams in the top left, but this place does get really bright, so I wanted to make sure I touched on it in the early morning hours before it got too bright. So the first thing that I wanted to take note of is I live in Florida, and Florida rains a lot, and so that was a big concern of mine, is what that was going to mean for the plants as it began to get rained on. The second thing I wanted to touch on was I know that the sunshine here is extremely bright, and I know these plants love that, but they've been under artificial grow lights for a long period of time, and so I wasn't sure how they were going to handle that, so we're going to talk through that as well. And we'll also talk about the pest situation and how that has gone, and that's actually pretty surprising how that's gone. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Drosera binata. Now what you see in front of you is just a hodgepodge of several of them. There is multifida extrema in here. Here's another one of those. Let's see, there is the regular binata there that should be viable, so once it starts producing seeds it will spread. There is binata giant there, so the giant forks. Let's see what else. There's an Evans head somewhere in there, and there is definitely staghorn giant. Looks like that's one right there. Not a lot of difference between staghorn and then also multifida, but multifida will end up branching off quite a bit more once it gets larger. Here is dichotoma looking very poor, and then here is another dichotoma giant. And so let's see what else we have in here. This is a this is a Drosera filiformis giant. Here's a californica. You've got a Jersey red, I believe, and then a filiformis right there. Now, let's talk through what that has done, or what this has done. This move has done for them. They have so far probably done the best out of all of them in this transition. As you can see, there is a lot of new growth that is exploding. I will say, in the only 1 week period of time that I've had them out here in Florida, sun and rain, they have done extremely well. The current leaves that were on there are dying off, and that is going to be a lot due to the shock of the sunshine. I could have done a little bit more of an acclimating process with the light, but I was like, they're pretty hardy plants, so I stuck them right out here. And so they did take a hit on that, but they are doing very well, bringing in new growth. What's also cool is about this californica right here is both my californica and my giant are doing this mutation where they split fork, which is pretty cool to see. I'm hoping this dichotoma giant will do okay. It's not looking great, but the roots still seem viable, so we'll keep an eye on it and see how it goes. We've got Adelaide down in there. I was really concerned about the Adelaide because it's more of a shade, not really shade, but it likes shade more than most Drosera. So I was concerned of how that would do, but it seems to be doing okay. We'll keep an eye on it to see how it goes. Let's see, here I've got an Alicia. I was also concerned about the Alicia, but it seems to be doing okay. There is some leaf burn. There's a Drosera affinis right there, and as you can see, everything looks very wet. It's been raining basically every single day, but I will tell you that the plants have, for the most part, done very well with the rain. Now everything looks like it's in a very shaded area right now because it is. This is early morning, which is why I'm also talking lower, because I don't want the neighbors to be too bothered by this. But in all regards, the Drosera have had okay success. They are definitely getting a lot more flies now being outside. As you know, they are very greedy in catching flies, so they've done very well in that regard. So they're getting a lot more food. I know long term these plants are going to really appreciate being out here, as some of them need dormancy as well. Now let's talk about the fly traps. Now I got these fly traps as a rescue from like one of the big box stores, and it was doing really well in the collection inside, but I knew they were going to really take a hit when I put them out here, and that's exactly what they've done. As you can see, they've gotten a lot of burn on them. I don't think it's going to be lethal to them. It will set them back pretty substantially, but again, 2025, I'm gonna have a big bog garden in this yard. I plan on making it a good size, and so I needed them to get used to that. And so I figured, hey, we got a few more months before dormancy kicks in. Let's go ahead and get them out there now and just see how it goes. So we're gonna keep looking at the collection. I'm gonna move on to the next. All right, so the next tray that we're gonna look at is mainly capensis, and there's some Sarracenia in here, and then some filiformis babies. You've got californica here from root cuttings that are coming in just nice. You got some Bonata babies there. You got a Florida, this one came in with this Sarracenia, but there's a Florida filiformis down there that will sell seed and be viable, so it will not be too long, and that will be everywhere. Adelaide, I purposely set it over here thinking it would get a little bit more shade, and it seems to be doing fine. And here's some more of those Venus fly traps that were doing fantastic inside, but as you can see, they get a little grumpy when they get moved, especially from just dealing with artificial light to the full sun of Florida. Capensis have definitely taken a hit with all this rain and heat. Once the weather starts to cool down a little bit, they will really start to come back and look a lot better, doing what capensis does, producing a lot of seeds. I may cut this flower stalks off just so I don't stress them out even more. Got some more Bonata growing in here, and then this is that lotus eater. I was concerned about this one. It's never fully opened. It's always stayed very rosetted like this, like almost like a Hercules. And so I've got concerns over that, but I'm gonna keep watching it and just see what it does in this heat. I may move it inside if it gets too much. Here is Madagascariensis that is trying to make a comeback. It's got a flower stalk there that is producing seeds as we speak. And so Madagascariensis is a really cool plant. It's always been an easy grower, but I think it's gonna like this environment substantially better than being inside. Got a Sarracenia here. This is a new acquisition, so they are looking pretty rough, but it's got its first new picture that's coming in and should be coming out here pretty soon. Here's an old one that it came with. Very hard to see in this morning light, but I'm excited to see how this goes. Now I just have these in trays, and I just drilled some holes in them because, like I said, when it rains in Florida, it really rains. Sorry, I had to pause the video. I actually pulled my back out, and so I tried to stand up. I'm leaning over these pots. I tried to stand up, and my body was like, nope, and it just took the wind out of me. So, but we are back at it. So this next tray is just literally a junk tray full of just old pots that I had. And what I'm using it for is to put just random utricularia and different seeds in there. My hope is to eventually have this be filiformis, full of filiformis, but we'll see how it goes. There's some longifolia in there. There's some parthenopipes right there, but in general, it is just full of capensis seedlings and little things here and there. It is, as you can see, very full of water. I do have pre-drilled holes in here, but yeah, I don't want them to fill up too much, but when it rains, and that's the thing I'm worried about with Florida, is it doesn't stop raining even in the winter months. And so most of these, it's okay if they are wet when they go into their hibernacula, but I don't want to risk it too much, so I'm gonna have to watch that carefully, and to empty these things out. But let's talk about pests. As you know, these things were dealing with some aphids when they were in the enclosure, and honestly they have done very well since they've been out here. I was very concerned, but I think being out here with the rain has sort of helped wash them off. Obviously it doesn't get rid of them, but I think also just having the beneficial insects like the ladybugs has helped out quite a bit. We have a lot of ladybugs. I have a tree that's in the back corner right here that for whatever reason ladybugs absolutely love it, so it's covered in them. But that theory might be wrong because I don't see any ladybugs on the plants themselves, but the aphids are definitely have been pushed back. I'm sure they're still there somewhere, but it's almost impossible to get rid of, but I'll keep an eye on it. Other pests I've been concerned about haven't necessarily been an issue as of yet. Now it's only been a week, so I'm sure they're on their way, and so it's something to keep an eye on. But let's talk about what the plan is with this collection and how we plan on expanding that. So as I've mentioned already in this video, in 2025, my goal is to get a bog garden going that's outdoors and just sort of help teach people about that process and what it looks like. And so I wanted to get these plants acclimated to that. All of them, most of them will do very well in a bog garden setting. And so I thought it would be a good time to do that. Plus, most of these, or a lot of these rather, need dormancy. And so I thought it would be a good time to get them out there and get them in their first dormancy. Now, what I've done is in the space that I had this grow tent, I've put in fish tanks where I'll be doing a lot of propagating stem cuttings and things of that nature, seedlings, to try to build up the collection. The plan is to have quite a large bog garden eventually, and so I want to have a lot of plants. Obviously, I need to up my Sarracenia game, and so I will be getting much more of those, but I also want there to be a lot of Bonata in there. Sorry, there's some sort of alarm going on in the back. The joys of working outside filming instead of being in my grow tent. But I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what everything's doing, a quick picture of all this, because I want you to be part of the journey. I want you to see what it looks like at the beginning, and then also what it will look like as we build this bog garden together. So here is a first look. It's only been 1 week. There's been a lot of, as expected, a lot of new growth, a lot of burning, but everything is looking like it's going to do very well. I hope that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and as always, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.